Hey everyone, if you want to make your own podcast but you don't know where to begin, Spotify for Podcasters makes it super easy. They've got everything in one place, it's totally free, and you can make money while doing it. Here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start doing it today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and pretty much everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also supported, and you can even conduct polls and Q&As. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, the platform is totally free. No catch, totally free. When I wanted to start my own podcast, I did not know where to begin, and I didn't think it was even possible. And Spotify for Podcasters made it happen. They made it easy, they made it quick, and I am doing something that I love. What more can I ask for? So if you're interested in starting your own show, you can do it, and I highly recommend you give this a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. So, hi everyone, my name's Jamie, and welcome to Everything Kratom, the podcast about anything and everything Kratom. I have no right making this podcast. I hope you all know that. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have any equipment. I made this track you hear behind my voice at 2 a.m. last night, etc., etc. It goes on and on. But anyway, I don't know. Don't you want to hear someone talk about Kratom all the time? I do. So if you're like me, this is for you. Glad to have you. Hope you'll listen. So here we go. So how did I find out about Kratom? Well, like every good discovery, it came through a friend. And one day when I was in college, back in 2011, my friend said, well, I'm getting some interesting things in the mail. Do you want to try any? And, I had nothing to lose. I was young, I had my whole life ahead of me. So I was like, sure. So we went to his room. He gave me a few of these capsules. I didn't even catch what he said it was. But what it was, I think, was Bali Kratom in capsule form. And I took those. Then we headed down to a party at the river. There's a fire there. This is a rural college for all of you people who live in cities and don't know what rivers or fires are. And after we hung out at the fire for a while, we headed back to the dorm room. And I said goodnight, headed back to my dorm room. And when I laid down on the bed, I realized that my head sunk into the pillow so nicely, and I felt so comfortable. And that's when I realized that, as silly as it sounds, I hadn't rested my head on my pillow and have my head actually sink into the pillow for years. For years. I had been going to bed and then laying on the bed and laying my head on the pillow, and there was still some tense thing happening in my neck, so that I was kind of like holding it rigid a little bit, even though I was resting it on the pillow. But with Kratom working in the background, mind you, I forgot that I'd taken those 2 capsules. I didn't know what they were. I thought they didn't work. And I just felt so relaxed, and for the first time ever. And it was so important to me because, I don't know, it was like I hadn't felt comfortable, but I didn't even know that I didn't feel comfortable. And then all of a sudden I'm like laying down and I feel like, oh, that's right. This is how you're supposed to feel normally. And it was a really big discovery for me. So I had tried all these different things for depression and anxiety when I was a teen, and none of them seemed to work. And they were all prescription medications that a therapist just kept prescribing over and over again. All these beta blockers and SSRIs and MAOIs or whatever they're called. It was just terrible. I know they work for some people, but it wasn't for me. I didn't need that. But I kind of found the ticket, so I went up to my friend the next day and asked him what the name of it was, because I had already, I didn't even pay attention at the time. I didn't know what I had taken. And he told me that it was Kratom. And so I did some research, figured out the different types, and ever since then, I've been kind of just exploring the different types of kratom, how they can help me in different situations. And I've finished college and I've graduated. I've got a full-time job. I've got a wife and a baby and two doggies, and working to buy a house. So it's, life has come together, and I really do think that kratom was a big part of it. Um, so I'm just excited to be talking about all the different aspects of it here on this show, and I'll take suggestions. If anybody wants to talk about it for a show, I'm totally down. I mean, I'm sure that we're not going to have a huge listening base right away with this thing. So if you reach out, I'll hopefully be able to get back to you pretty quickly. Maybe we can just kind of have a conversation and I can hear about your experience with it. And also, one more thing before we wrap up this intro episode. I am not trying to be biased. I want to have people who don't agree with me. If you have had a terrible experience with kratom, I want to know. My best friend in the whole wide world, who was my roommate at college, he tried it and it was horrific and it made him throw up and he had a terrible experience. So, and who am I to deny that that's not a thing? Um, and I know people who've taken it who've gotten really depressed because they took it. So I'm totally not biased toward being positive about it. It's just my personal experience, but I'd love to share everyone's experience, both positive and negative. So please feel free to reach out about it. And I think what I'll do is, starting with the next episode, let's go into White Vein Kratom. And then we'll jump into Green Vein, and then to Red Vein. And then following those episodes, we'll jump into some combos and some mixes, which I've been just getting into recently and find really interesting. And yeah, so happy to be doing this. All right, y'all. Stay tuned. Bye.